I'm Chris Lee of Southeastern14.com, here to talk about SEC football coaching news, which was the talk of the weekend. Let's start at LSU, where Lincoln Riley turned down an offer sheet from LSU. And what I'm told is the offer was in the 8-year, $12 million a year range. He is going to USC. Simply put, Lincoln Riley did not want to go coach in the SEC. He was not a huge fan of the move. He took the path of less resistance in terms of going to the Pac-12. You've got a great recruiting base at Southern Cal, all the reasons I can name. But now what that does is that puts LSU and Oklahoma both on the spot. Let's start with LSU, where you've got an AD in Scott Woodward who's got a large ego. Some people think the biggest in all of college sports. He is a Baton Rouge/LSU guy. He's from there. He wants to win the press conference, which he has done once at Texas A&M when he hired Jimbo Fisher and really changed the landscape of the coaching contract market. Now, I think that he's going after somebody who's still there. What I've just been told is he has given a term sheet to Matt Rhule, who's coaching at Carolina, and things are not going really well for Matt Rhule. He's starting to come under pressure with that fan base. Matt Rhule is a guy who has done phenomenal work at Temple and Baylor. I think would be a good hire. So he's one of the guys they are evaluating. The other two names that have come up a lot privately, Luke Fickell at Cincinnati, who's doing a phenomenal job. The catch with Fickell is he's more of a Midwest/cold weather guy, so I don't know if Baton Rouge is the right fit for him or the one that he will out for. And Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, who's done a fantastic job, but of course does not have to compete with the SEC week in and week out. Now, of course, Oklahoma is looking for a coach. The Sooners will be joining the SEC at some point in the next couple of years, and Bob Stoops is the interim coach. I don't think this is breaking ground here, but Stoops is not going to be the long-term guy. Steve Spurrier really pushed to get Stoops to come out of retirement, to come to Florida. That didn't happen. He will coach their bowl game, but not much beyond that. Now, who do they go after next? I think it's going to be an offensive-minded guy. Jeff Lebby's name has come up. He, of course, is the offensive coordinator for Ole Miss, where he's done a phenomenal job. You could see somebody like Graham Harrell's name pop up. Shane Beamer's name has popped up. He's done a tremendous job at South Carolina, where he's been the head coach there for a year. Carolina is 6-6 and going to a bowl, and frankly, one of the better coaching jobs anyone did anywhere in the country this year. He's been an assistant at Oklahoma, so that could be the selling point for him, although I think he loves it at South Carolina, where he spent a long time. Cliff Kingsbury's name has come up. I think he'll stay in the NFL, where it is he's not crazy about recruiting. Josh Heupel's name has come up. I don't think that's going to happen. Heupel has, of course, quarterbacked at Oklahoma. He's been the OC at OU. Of course, he was also fired by Oklahoma. That didn't go over very well, and so I don't know. I just don't think that Josh Heupel to Oklahoma, for several reasons, makes a ton of sense. It makes some sense, but I don't know that's where they're going to land. But that name has come up. In any case, I think whoever OU gets will either be an offensive-minded guy or maybe a defensive-minded guy like Brent Venables, who will go out and make a splash OC hire. Let's talk about what happened in Gainesville over the weekend. Florida, I think, made a tremendous hire with Billy Napier. He's 42 years old. He was 39-12 at Louisiana, which is 11-1 this year. And I think that's important. But let's also look at some other things that caused him to be a guy that Scott Strickland really wanted. And that's his background, which lends itself to recruiting. He has worked under Nick Saban for 6 years. And of all of Saban's former assistants, a lot of people think he is most like Nick Saban. And what I mean by that is you look at the characteristics of Billy Napier. He's got a spotless reputation. He's a straight shooter. He's honest and detailed. He's well-liked. He's described as, quote, an all-business guy. And what got Dan Mullen in trouble at Florida was recruiting or lack of recruiting. And so Billy Napier is a guy with all those characteristics, should be able to recruit well, given his personality and given his background. A lot of people think that he's a tremendous fit who can win titles in Gainesville and should be a star. I agree. Hope it goes well for Billy Napier. A couple more things to look at in the SEC and in the coaching carousel on the whole. I think everybody's watching what could happen at Miami. As of this morning, Manny Diaz is still the coach there. I think if Diaz were to get fired, Mario Cristobal would probably be the front runner there. You've heard Lane Kiffin's name come up. Of course, Kiffin spent some time in that area in his previous stop before Ole Miss. Cristobal probably would be the front runner. I'm frankly not sure that Miami is a better job than Ole Miss right now. A lot of folks think Miami is a great job because of all the success that program had 15, 20 years ago. But you've got a president who's not super pro athletics. You've got facilities that are lagging and a place that frankly can't draw flies anymore. So I think right now Ole Miss might be a better job than Miami, which would have been crazy to say 10 or 15 years ago, but that's where we are. Last thing I'm watching is Auburn and Brian Harsin. I don't think that either party is super happy there. I think Harsin is a better fit on the West Coast. Auburn, of course, 6-6, had a brutally tough loss to Alabama. That would be one that if something opens on the West Coast, you might see him leave to take a job back closer to where he's had success at Boise State. So watch for that one because like anything, when the dominoes start to fall other places in coaching, that affects your coaching search if you're an AD. So that's one more thing I'm watching, not reporting. It may not happen. He's only been there a year, but I'm watching to see what happens at Auburn. Anyway, I'm Chris Lee for Southeastern14.com. Thanks for watching our video. We'll have more coming later this week.